Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Stephen Ford. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, I'm Robbie B.
That is not true.
Oh, I tried.
I'm Robbie B, and you're my partner in crime.
You guys' faces literally aren't this stupid. You don't want that evil put on you.
Yo, what is happening? It's a Wednesday yet again.
I think the countdown to ATCs is on for sure.
It is. It is on in full effect. Thank you, Robbie B. If you are listening to this and you're on time, then you have 2 or 3 days before lists need to be submitted to ATC. The 80 sold out teams need to have all their lists in by Sunday. And Shane and Chris, from what I understand, have put out saying that before July 7th, is this correct? I believe it's a couple days after the 4th, is something like that, that they're going to have lists in a document format on the Captain Council Facebook page, aka out to the public for everyone to see. I'm excited. It's like this time of year and fantasy football draft time of year for me is like exciting. I like to engage my mind with a bunch of knowledge. So pumped.
Oh, there's definitely a lot of stuff in the gates. If you're a fan of Age of Sigmar, we got the new rollout of 2.0 second edition is this week, and of course a whole nother batch of releases following up next week as well. So it's going to be a little scratchy on the 40k side for a few weeks, but maybe get a demo game of Age of Sigmar. I know Kenny's going to do one.
Yep, I'm 100% going to play all the Age of Sigmar.
You know, I speak sarcasm, and
I'm being real. I definitely like games where people throw fireballs at each other and run around like hobos, and there's no laser guns and there's no tanks.
Kenny is not lying. I just looked on eBay and he started selling Mauler Fiends and Hellhounds and anything else to buy. He just put on Facebook groups searching for elves.
I definitely didn't just work on 3 Knight Armigers and a Knight Titan because I fuck all that. Like I'm all in on the magic shit.
That's it.
The purple son of Knight Armiger.
He is trying to buy Teclis right now to cast Purple Sun.
That name brings me
Rob,
back.
if you didn't know, that's an elf from fantasy.
I know who he is.
Oh, I know. I was being facetious.
Those are Eldar, right? I think they're Eldar.
I knew that guy. I met him.
I'm not a word scientist, but I'm like, facetious? Is it?
Yeah, I met that guy one time.
That's a philosopher. Rob, so obviously we got lots to talk about tonight. What's new in the FAQs. We got Renegades. We got, fucking releases. I know it's a busy week.
It's deceptively busy going into the holiday. What is it, next week? Holidays, July 4th weekend, I guess it's weekend, and July 4th in the middle of the month or the middle of the week. So yeah, there's a lot of news for the end of the month. You know, a lot of people going on vacation. We got the 2 FAQs, the whole new Knight Index. Of course, the Imperial Armors were updated too. Those are 2 separate FAQs. So I feel like we got a lot to talk about tonight. Plus the new Age of Sigmar. Let's go over the Tabletop Market Watch. These are the new releases coming out for going on pre-order this weekend, of course, coming out, what is it, 7th or 8th, next Saturday. The Stormcast Eternals will get their 3rd or 4th, depending on how you're counting, Battle Tome in 3 years. That will be out.
If you can't tell, that's somebody's favorite child.
Well, and to GW's credit, it's completely their IP. They invented them. They're theirs. Like, so why not? I feel that. $40.
The one who's always first in line at the Christmas tree. and they always get to go back to the Christmas tree like 5 times before everyone else.
Oof.
So sad. So sad.
There's still a lot of stuff to get updated in Sigmar. I won't sugarcoat it. Like, it's not the same faction games. You're not just going to see elves running around. Everything is very specific. If you're
Skaven too. I mean, are you kidding me? Like some of the rooks and stuff. Like, yeah, no, absolutely.
They actually came out with this Age of Sigmar FAQ today, where they recommended the base sizes. They're like recommended base size chart, but you feel free to play on whatever size you want. And I was like, that's probably not a good thing to say. I'm going to put my little dude on a big base. No, I'm not going to.
You realize anytime you say something like that, GW, you're just wasting words, right? Like you're just wasting valuable human time. Like, no, like any organized play is going to be like, the recommended chart is the chart.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Why would you say the recommended? I mean, am I wrong in thinking that? Like, no. Am I just being... Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Like, so here's the chart. The chart is fine because, like, you know, for example, I got this fresh ass Demon Prince right here that my man Bill Neary made for me, and he put it on the big circle base because it's fresh. It's got lava.
Oh,
like,
sweet.
So that's dope, right? Like that's my warlord. He runs around, and I still have to make considerations. I'm like, look, any auras I measure from this guy, I'm just gonna subtract an inch. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's what they mean. Like, feel free, like, you know, thematically. But the OP crowd is going to be like, oh, do you know that if I put my like this unit on these size bases, that, you know, that's the problem, is that you can't give us anything. You can't even give us, you give us a tiny little bit of leeway on something. I mean, we'll take advantage. I mean, but remember back when they finally rolled out with 32mm bases, we were like, well, technically you could put 5 guys in a drop pod. You can keep 3 of your old Marines on 25mm, 2 of them on 32s, and look at this cool little thing you can do, you know, like we're like, that's what you do. Don't do that to us, GW.
I mean, this is exactly what they said, and we can just move on. But I just want to make sure we were all reading it right. It says, in the core rules designer commentary, which by the way is a seven-page set of rules, in addition to the 18-page core rules, in addition to stuff that's in the core rule book that you need to play competitively that is not in the free downloadable core rules. So 7-page set of designer commentary, just like what happened with the 8th edition 40K. It says, in the core rules designer commentary, you'll find the much requested recommended base size list, making this the perfect time to rebase your army if you've been putting it off. This is just a recommendation, though, and you can, of course, continue to use whatever bases you think look awesome on your models.
Well, I like that wording a whole lot better. Like, as long as, you know, like, as long as, if the thing is, that rule is perfectly fine as long as the spirit is maintained, but gamers have a way of breaking the spirit.
No, sure. Like, in a TO, that's the base level, like ground floor, you know, shit has been laid out where a TO can say, all right, you got to use the recommended basis. We are removing May. For our event, you have to use the recommended basis. So I'm glad to hear that.
You know what? There's something else.
I wish GW would do that. Like, I want to know, does my neophytes need to be on 22s, or characters, are they allowed to be on larger ones? For example, I bought Hive Guard from years ago. They're on smaller bases. I just haven't switched them over. You know, is it acceptable to play down or up? Does it matter? I don't know.
I just thought of another can of worms. I want to read you something, and I want to hear you guys' opinion, because this is probably the first time you've heard this. Here we go. Question: is it okay to use proxy models to stand in for models that I do not have but I want to use in a game? For example, I want to use a Slaughter Priest to represent a Blood Secretor, or have a Stormcast Eternal model painted in the colors of Hammers of Sigmar to represent Stormcast Eternals from a different warrior chamber. Answer: this is a twofold. This is very important. The use of proxy models is generally frowned upon because doing so can confuse other players and sometimes even yourself, and because it spoils the spectacle and aesthetic of the game. Because of this, you can always use proxy models if you've gained your opponent's permission to do so before the game begins.
Very reasonable of GW to say.
Sure, that's in. I would say that does not have a caveat of match play or tournament play. Any rule that says you have to have your opponent's permission, that is not for tournament play. That is not the permission you are seeking. It is the TO's permission. So this happens a lot in 40K. well, is it acceptable? Wobbly modeler, for example, in 40K. Wobbly modeler is still a thing. Is it wobbly model? Excuse me, not modelers. So is it acceptable to say, can I place my model here and then claim wobbly model? No, because your opponent says in the rule book, it says, does you and your opponent agree? It's like, nope. If there's a discrepancy, you call a judge over. They are your opponent at this point. So I would say I think that's fine. Then that ruling is fine up until, the TOs aspect. And a lot of people who do now modeling and stuff like that, every TO is saying, at least in the 40K realm, send me your conversions. I want to see pictures. So I think it's good.
I think it is fair. But I don't agree with using Stormcast Eternal model painted in colors that hammers the Sigmar to represent a Stormcast Eternal from a different warrior chamber. I think paint your models however you want. Like,
what does that mean in layman's term?
So it's like basically painting something blue, painting Space Marine blue and saying it's a Dark Angel.
Oh,
using the Dark Angel rules.
Yep.
See, the thing is, GW's always played that way. You know what I mean? Like in their house, they say if you Red Marines are Blood Angels, Blue Marines are Ultramarines. That's always been their stance, and it's always going to be their stance. And they're going to make a bullshit ass explanation why. They're going to say, "Oh, it confuses people." No doubt, for a certain extent, it can confuse people unless you say, "Hey, my entire army, which is red, is actually using White Scars rules." Okay, cool. I'm not confused anymore, right? So what GW really means is like they don't want the part where they say the cinematic experience. That's really what they're after. They want their IP presented as strong and as unified and as consistently as possible. That's really what they mean, but they don't say that. Like, if they come out and say that, I have a little bit more respect for the statement. If they were just like, "Look, brah, this is my IP. We developed this shit. We put a lot of money, a lot of hours into this. We feel personally it's disrespectful to our IP to do that. So no, you can't." That's what you mean. Just say it.
I can get behind this as long as you're not like, "Oh, okay, these red dudes here are White Scars. These red dudes here are Dark Angels, and no." You need to have some sort of way to easily tell what is what. First off, for me to even consider that being okay.
Yeah, and most major tournaments, like ITC did that last year, SoCal Open. Remember, they literally implemented that rule for like
what that you had to have specific things.
You can paint any of your shit any color you want, but don't use one color to represent multiple factions.
Yeah, that's just confusing.
Yeah, for example, if you have 3 shield captains and you want 2 of them to be Blood Angels and 1 to be White Scars, the mother truckers better not all be red. Don't do me like that. Which I think that's bad gameplay even if you do. So yeah, I can get behind that, GW. Absolutely.
Yep, 100%. So I thought those were important things to talk about. So we will talk more about the FAQ with Age of Sigmar and stuff. Of course, everybody's going to get their hands on the box set and play all that this weekend, and it's going to all kind of filter through. But let's talk about the actual releases coming out. Now,
are they all going to get it, and are they all going to play? Or is it going to be Knights?
I mean, it might be. Why not both?
Knights and Age of Sigmar. We've got Knights and Purple Suns happening at the same time.
Oh my gosh. If only we could be so lucky. By the way, you're going to freak out when you see how big that Purple Sun is. It's like the size of a softball. Maybe a baseball. Maybe
I was just putting up my back wall here earlier, and one of the relic gems that I wish I would have, because I could have pulled for reference, was the apocalyptic pizza plate.
The OOG.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people need to buy the starter set for Age of Sigmar, so they can save a few bucks there. So we got the Stormcast Eternal book coming out, the Night Haunt book coming out. Those are both $40 US. Now, both of these factions are getting their own spell boxes, the endless spells that we just talked about, the stand play and predatory spells, in addition to the normal spells everybody can buy or their war scrolls come with. These bad boys, apparently every faction is going to get their own box to play with, which is kind of interesting. Both $35 boxes, and I think there are only 3 models. whereas you get 7 or 9 in the Malign Sorcery box. I forget. Not sure on the value there, but we'll see. Maybe they're a little bit bigger than. It's hard to tell right now. War Scroll cards. They redesigned the War Scroll cards. Remember how we were like, these things are huge and they're like this big and the font's all right here. Well, now they're. Do I have any? Now
the new night size?
No, now they're this big.
Oh.
Instead of the old size, they're this big, and they have
appropriate size wordings.
Appropriate size wording, indeed. And they're a little bit easier. I guess what you could say is remember Silver Tower? They're basically the card sizes that comes with Silver Tower.
But that's just filled with information.
Yeah.
Goddamn. GW putting out data slates for all these game systems in different sizes. It's about fucking time.
No, it's great. It's really good. I definitely
I was actually impressed to see the size of the data cards that the Night Titans were on. I don't know if they're just like, oh, Night Titans are bigger, let's put it on bigger cards, but that's the size I want for every one of my units. I don't know, the little shits, I don't like them as much as the other data cards.
Those were the size that the Sigmar ones were, but the font wasn't all spread out like on the Knights. Like they did a really good job on the Knights ones. Then you got 2 War Scroll card sets for them. The Stormcast Eternals one's $25 because apparently it has more models or in their faction than the Night Haunts, which are $15. Stormcast Eternal dice set, Night Haunt dice set, both $20. Their dice game has really come on point. I love their stuff for the most part. I don't know about those Nurgle ones.
One of the only dice that I like are the Nurgle ones.
Really?
It's so funny. You said
they roll well.
I'm sure that I don't roll it.
They are so misweighted. I have some back here behind me. I keep them back here. So whenever I'm like reaching to roll a dice juice, like, to do my normal dice rolling.
Yeah.
I'm always grabbing those dice. And I just witnessed the utter inconsistency with these dice daily. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like this does reach in and grab 4 other dice and immediately it evens out.
This isn't telling me anything.
Yeah. They're the coolest looking dice they ever made, but damn,
coolest looking dice that GW's ever
don't
done.
fucking roll. Use them for wound counters and your Nurgle models. Don't.
Yeah.
They're awful.
Oh, so I have a question. I don't mean to derail us. Do you ask your opponent not to use them?
I've never had an opponent try to use them.
I've seen it multiple times.
If he wants to roll them, I know personally.
If he want, I don't care one way or the other, but
if he wants to roll them, I've personally seen them just be garbage.
Let's see. I want to check something real quick. Also coming out is the Lady Olander. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's this ginormous kind of ghost. It might be Isabella von Karstein. It might not be. We don't know the exact fluff yet, but she looks pretty cool. $45. Then the Grimghast Reapers, $45 box set, and Crawlock the Jailer and Chain Gas for $40. And the Stormcast Eternals get 1 release, a Lord Exorcist. I think it's on a mount. Actually, no, is this one on a mount? I forget exactly. For $35 US. So that's the releases coming out next week. Some folks in chat, just real quick, we're saying some stuff about not having to pick up the core rulebook because you can download the 18 pages. That may be true, but there is a section of allegiance abilities for chaos, order, destruction, and death. There's a whole section in there that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's not in General's Handbook. And also the Realms of Battle rules, which aren't anywhere else. The Endless Spells rules are in the Malign Sorcery book, and in the General's Handbook, the stuff for match play is also reprinted as well. But you will still need the allegiance rules from the main rule book if you plan on playing allegiance and not faction, at the very least, and the Realm Battle. But I'm not even sure if that stuff's going to make it to play because ATC is running a singles Age of Sigmar event, 2-day GT. Not gonna play with the Realm rules because it's just too much. It's just too much all at once. And they kind of felt that way. And I think I don't know where we're gonna go with it, but there seems to be a lot to this new rule set all at once. So I'm gonna try to learn it as much as possible and comment my thoughts on it when I have actually played the game.
Wait a second. So they're using some of the new rules and not some of the new rules?
Everything but the realm rules.
What does the realm mean? What is that?
So there's 7 different realms in Age of Sigmar, and each one.
Those are those battlefield effects we were talking about.
Well, yeah, there's a battlefield effects table. There's a spell that both wizards get access to, and then consequently, there's also in the Malign Sorcery book, there's a whole list of 6 spells that all the wizards get, plus there's artifacts of power and stuff that you can get too. So literally, you can sit there and have a pregame during the game because you don't know where you're playing at. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It might be the right move.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't comment.
At first, my first instinct was like, no, you got to embrace it. You got to go with it. But no, I think they were very right. That sounds, you've got a new edition and you're implementing stuff that hasn't been in the previous, no, I'm with it.
Reminds me a little bit of the old dogfight rules remember they dropped that? They're like,
These are literally what I was thinking.
And remember, they were real rules. They weren't like some here's an alternate thing. No, this is rules. And dogfighting was like a mini game you played outside of the game, and but not always. But there was some buffs. But technically, it was like a mini game, and instantly everyone was like, "We're not playing that shit."
I didn't tell you guys about this spell. Like so there's a chance that you could play in one of these 7 realms, and if you do, this is a spell that both players will get access to. Tell me what you think.
You told us about this last time.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, no, tell us again, but just so
Tell me, I haven't heard.
All right. It's called Banishment. It has a casting value of 8. It's successfully cast. Pick an enemy unit within 12 of the caster that is visible to them. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from any models in the caster's army and more than 24 inches from the caster.
And that comes with one of the realms, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the one we're like, okay, that's the realm I want. Well, that's the realm I want. Well, we're both fucking trying to fuck each other over.
So my question is, what happens if those stipulations can't come to fruition?
What stipulations?
9 inches away from me and 24 away from you.
I don't know.
Huh. That's.
I mean, you could theoretically make them disappear.
That will never. Yeah, that whole realm of battle shit will never be in tournament play. Shane and Chris and Melanos, that group has nailed it out of the park as always. Front runners, that will never see competitive Age of Sigmar.
Class, I just want to illustrate the cloud was a classic juice mixed metaphor. Nailed it out of the park.
I don't see what's wrong with it. It's what I do.
We make it happen. So that's all our new releases. I'm not tracking anything else. Trying to think, racking my brain, not thinking of anything else. Of course, there's always Kickstarter.
Let's talk about what's new in FAQ, because that's going to play into a lot of what you just talked about. Obviously, a lot has happened since we've last gotten together. I have stayed completely. I'm a new in FAQ virgin. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I kept myself fresh for this segment right now.
So for the Imperial Knights, they just got their 1.0 FAQ. Notice everything on their site, on GDub's site now says errata instead of FAQ as well. So first up, Knight Lances changed a bit. The command benefit of an Imperial Knight Super Heavy Detachment is now changed to none if it does not contain at least 1 Imperial Knights Titanic unit, and is changed to 6 command points if it contains at least 3 Imperial Knights Titanic units.
That's a big deal, because before it was like you would take a couple Armigers and you take a Knight Titan and you literally had 0 command points, and you're like, fuck, So now they're saying no. As long as you have at least 1 Titanic keyword guy, you get the command benefit of the 3 for the big super for that detachment. But they go a step further, and they say if it's 3 Titanic, which is like 3 Knights or Dominuses, you get 6, homie. which I
Yo,
like.
that
I like.
number-
Well, that's important because they're very expensive. If you take 3, that's a lot of your fucking points. And there's a lot of new stratagems that you like. There's a lot of these people out there who are like, I bought all these knights and I want to use them, but I can't fucking use any of my stratagems. So like, no, here you go, bro.
Yep, that's exactly. If you have a Armiger Knight detachment and 3 of these other guys, you are solid when it comes to CP. You'll be able to play the game now. Instead of, well, I don't have enough. No, and 6 for 3 gallants, 6 for the middle class that only take 1 CP to rotate their ion shield is solid as hell. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's solid. It's kind of bowing down and giving a little bit back in their commentary. They said, hey, you know what? Imperial Knights was made before the FAQ, so here's some cookies, and we're all 40K fat kids. I love cookies.
No. Hey, they deserve it. I don't play them. I don't see myself playing 3 Knight Titans, but they deserve it. Absolutely.
The next thing on here that I think is definitely worth us talking about is the clarification of House Raven's Relentless Advance tradition. The question was, if you turn something basically from a heavy weapon to assault weapon, you still would be -1, but it says it ignores all the penalties to hit rolls for advancing and firing assault weapons. So in essence, what they say is, hey, you're good to go. You get to move, you get to advance, you get to fire all your guns because they knock down to assault, and then they ignore the -1 to shoot, which gives you a couple extra inches, and we can all use that in our games, I'm sure.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in life. Yes.
I mean, isn't life
solid?
a game?
Yep. Kenny, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
3 Knight Titans in that formation, you're spending 1,000 points. Are you still taking guard now that you are getting?
That's my point.
Is it going to stop people taking guard or no?
The intent is for the people who are already all in on these knights. There's so many people who got 5 knights back in the day. So to me, the intent is for them, right? Like, you got all these new stratagems. When stratagems make the world go round, you are not able to do much if you're like, I want to play my fucking goddamn knights. Now you can. That's what it's for. But absolutely, people are still going to take guard. Because guard, as we know, is one of the cheapest CP farms in the game.
Those lists just got better, right?
Yeah.
If you got 3 knights in guard, those just got better with CP.
Yeah, it's still going to be the name.
And which is fine. I'm okay with it. Again, we just like to call it how we see it. Got it. And House, what was that? House Raven?
Yeah, that was the House Raven. So
it was already the forerunner to being the #1 Night House. Now it might have probably sealed the deal.
They clarified a thing that I don't think needed much. Like as Rob said earlier, it doesn't need much clarification. But Raven is the heater. That's the one we were like, we fucking loved it. You know what I mean? It was like people like Hawkshroud was really good too. Raven was dope, but we kept saying Raven because it was had the Mechanicus access to Mechanicus stratagems, right inside the Quester Mechanicus stratagems. So we were like, man, Raven is just too strong, man. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like, and I still think it's the best. And clarifications always make me happy.
I love me some Raven paint scheme too. They also put out 2 other FAQs for the Imperial Armor Chaos and Imperial Armor Astra Militarum pertaining to these changes as well, but also unlocking some really cool stuff for the Knights. Just kind of to paraphrase things, the keywords thing has been cleared up. You get to choose which house you want to be for both loyalists. Well, there isn't houses to chaos, but they all get the keyword term Questor Traitorous now. So remember, it's actually kind of fluffy. People are like, we need houses for chaos. There actually isn't any. A knight actually falling to chaos is a rare occurrence.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get some house rules for sure because this is an index. This is actually advertised as an index.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yes, but they also updated the Imperial Armors too.
Right. No. So we have a Chaos Renegade index so we can play Knights because people want to play Chaos Knights. So now that they dropped all this new shit, they're like, okay, you also can use it too. So they gave us an index, like a chapter approved index. Like they give us an index, they gave us a stratagem, a warlord trait, a relic, you know what I mean? Like that are unique. It's obviously not nearly as powerful as Imperial because we don't have any house specific rules. I'd love to see if they create a narrative for these despots and these like super powerful, house lords. Like, it's like, why wouldn't you also have a house trait? Like, why wouldn't where are they getting these Renegade Knights from? Obviously, they're getting them from these houses, right? Sometimes, like, obviously, some are free blades and stuff, but they're also like, you're gonna tell me like, there's never been a Hawk Shroud guy who went to Renegade.
Yeah, and created his own house. Like, either way, I think this is the concept. You haven't had it yet, so it's okay. You'll be happy with this level. They know that they can wait another 2 months, right, before giving you households, because when the night book came out, you didn't have access to it. So, I mean,
yeah, and
this draws the whole process out.
It's to echo the chat. There are trader houses. You know what I'm saying? So this is Index. This is quick for us. This is a quick update for the Chaos players to play too. That's a twofold thing. Like, they want the Chaos players to be involved too. Simultaneously, they want to sell models. Like, I didn't give a fuck about no Knights until they told me I can throw a couple of these cool ass big ass models in my Chaos, even though they're not as good. But we did have a whole podcast about like, hey, what's ultimately my biggest problem with Demon Princes is that they make me not take other units because they're so good. Like, so I know that in my heart, the Demon Prince is going to get addressed. And now maybe I want to play some of these Knights. So they're not as good, but hey, there's a couple of differences. Big difference is that Knights only have Renegade Knights only have 3 distinct data slates, right? Data sheets. Right. Like, we have like Dominus, Knight, and Armiger. We don't have a different data sheet for every weapon configuration. So at the end of the day, you technically can only take 3 Knights, 3 Dominuses, 3 Armigers, right? You can never you could take Squadron Armigers, but you can never do like 5 Knight Titans with Chaos. But
Right.
But that doesn't mean though we get access to any configuration of weapons we want. That's always kind of been Chaos's bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting that like a Knight can have any configuration of weapons. So that's cool. We're not going to be like advancing and shooting or getting 2 inches to our charges or shooting again or dying and getting back up and shooting. We're not going to get any of that. Ultimately, 90% of the power of Knights is locked in those stratagems. We don't have that at this point yet. So for them to be even remotely as competitive, we will have to get a Codex eventually.
Yeah, and they could definitely roll that out in the future after they get all the other ones in line already out. Also, in the Imperial indexes, they updated the Reaper Chainsword to be +6 strength that we know, not the +4. And the whole like wording on being able to bounce out of combat over top of infantry and swarms, but not vehicles, of course, and still shoot and charge back in and all those things that we already know from the Night Book. That stuff is all standard now. So you get to choose, hey, you want to be a Mechanicus house for loyalists, or you want to be just a normal Imperialis. That's cool. You can do all that. What's the other stuff too? And they then they set the Cerastus class and the Quaestorus class for some of them too, just to keep all the stuff in line there. I think we should probably break down, because we haven't quite talked about the Imperial Knights. Well, they're the same for both, but maybe like how and what they can actually use out of the Night Book, because there's some stuff in here that's locked to a certain class that you can't use, but then there's stuff like rotate ion shields that you still can use.
You mean from the GW Knight versus the Forge World Knight to like an Imperialist Lancer?
Yeah.
Ooh, they still get access to that stuff.
Some of the stuff, yeah. So Lancer,
yeah, absolutely. That was
I need to know this.
Yeah, that was a big part of what we talked about. So break that down. Like, so what's the update there?
Okay, so basically the things like Lancer or whatever has access to all the stratagems, because now they can be their Imperial Knight vehicle. They're also a house. So basically the only thing they can't do is the first couple of stratagems in the Night Book. Let's break them down. So you can't overload yourself. You can't
overload meaning
explode on a 4-up.
Yeah, that sucks. I
You
wanted
can't
that
do
one.
that one. You can't do the heirlooms. So this is where it gets a little dicey. If you want to have a 3-up invulnerable Forge World Knight, you have to make it your warlord, because that's the only way now to unlock the warlord traits. You cannot play the heirlooms of the household because you have to specifically target a Questor's class or a Dominus class. So you can't do that, but you could still do it. You just wouldn't get Grand Strategist if you're farming. The Exalted Court, same deal. You just can't get, or excuse me, that was heirlooms. So you can't get relics and you can't get warlord traits for non-warlords. So you have to make one a warlord and then you get a relic. You're not going to be able to add them a la carte. So it kind of pigeonholes you a little bit, but these guys are so strong. They have invuls in combat, which is pretty huge. We kind of figured that one out when we were doing our battle report. And Sky Reaper protocols can only be placed on the Armiger. And I think that was the big one. Everything else targets Imperial Knights or is locked to a specific house from there. Oh, Sally Forth, you can't. Questorus, Imperial. No, you could. So from there, you're pretty much good to go, but you just can't do the shenanigans with warlord traits.
Can you advance and charge?
You can. You can full tilt, yeah.
Can I stand back up?
You can, yes, if you're a Questor Imperial Alice, yes.
Can a Lancer?
Yes.
So a Lancer can move, advance, and charge, and stand back up.
Yes.
Those are like the two, and I can rotate ion shields.
Yes.
Right, three most powerful stratagems that they have access to, and I have that. Seems
can a Lancer be a character and a warlord and all that shit too?
It can, but your warlord has to come from your super heavy detachment then.
Okay, so I mean, the answer: can he be a 3-up invulnerable?
If he's your warlord, yes.
He would be a 3-up invulnerable to shooting, yes. Okay. Because he has a 4-up. He has a 4-up to shooting. No. He has a 5-up to shooting, a 4-up to combat. So 4 down, 5 down.
So he has a natural. So he has a natural 4.
He has a. Let me double
natural
check.
4 in combat.
He has a 4-up invulnerable in combat.
What about? Does he just have to match the normal ion shields for shooting?
They have something called a pharaonic ion shield. Hold on one second. Ionic flare shield. It's just an invulnerable save, but the way Ion Shield reads is you just have to have an invulnerable save.
Right. So what I'm saying is he can be your warlord. He can have the 4-up invulnerable. He can have the 3-up invulnerable. The 3-up invulnerable for the stratagem.
He has a.
What does he have? What is his natural shooting all day, every day invulnerable?
4-up.
So he doesn't need to be the warlord. That's a waste. So he just gets Ion Shield.
No, excuse me. It's a 5-up, 4-up to fight phase.
Okay, so yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
So, yes.
That's my question. Is like, can this bad motherfucker run into your grill and have a 3-up invulnerable from shooting?
Yeah, and he's actually faster running into your grill too because flank speed lets you roll 2d6 to determine the maximum distance it may move.
Yeah, that's a bad motherfucker.
That's literally why I asked if I could have the advance and charge, because flanking speed for him is fast as fuck. He gets to move 12 plus 2d6.
Mm-hmm, which is 7. But if you take
or 11 if I'm rolling.
You could actually get an additional 2 to that if you relic Landstrider.
No, I don't believe that. Didn't you say that he couldn't have house relics or something like that?
It's just a warlord trait. You would not be able to get the 3-up invulnerable.
No, that first off, I don't care about those inches. Give me the 3-up invulnerable over that. What class does he fall under, Robbie B? For rotating,
he's got to be a Dominus, man. There's no way he's not.
He's Cerastus.
So
that's the best thing about all these guys. They have 27 wounds and it's only 1 CP to rotate.
That's exactly what I thought.
They literally don't count as Dom.
That's what I thought. It literally is a rotate to a 1, not a 3.
Toughness 8, strength 8. They're basically a Dominus class.
So this is what we talked about. We talked about like this would be OP if they get updated to have the right keywords.
Come to find out, I own a Lancer.
I'm not saying it's OP. I'm just OP might be a strong term. It's pretty fucking optimized.
OP.
Yeah,
it's not capitalized.
It's not 5. It's not 5 demon princes that you can't target OP. It's not 3 shield captains you can't target OP. But it is on the list of really good.
So then, what do you think?
It's not Agents of Vect OP. Oh, did I say that out loud?
I think you did. I heard it.
You should be ashamed of yourself. You have offended at least 7,000 people who are very vocal, by the way.
Oh no.
I know.
That's cute.
Never did I know someone's opinion about something would affect so many.
I'm so angry at toy
Juice,
soldiers.
that's just because you're not on Facebook as much as me and Rob. That's standard operating procedure. That's business as
Pretty
usual
much.
for us.
I guess you're right. I have just been shocked and awed and almost appalled at. I have to admit we said we weren't going to do it, but it looks like we're doing it. I am shocked and appalled at the Dark Eldar community as a whole, who has such a problem with us having an opinion about something being powerful. We have bashed and talked shit about Dark Reapers. We don't hear Eldar people bitching and moaning. We have bashed and talked shit about Warcon. Hell, I took Warcon. I flew to Adepticon and spent my $1,800, and
talked the whole time about the reason I'm taking this is because it's the most.
Because it's good.
It's
That's
the
exactly
most OP
right.
shit there is.
That's what I'm gonna do.
The whole time during 7th edition, we were talking about one of the things that was ruining 7th edition was free points. We're like, this is the best thing. It's the most OP, like Gladi Strike Force, all this shit, and we were like, it's garbage. But I'm as long as you let me take it, I'm gonna take it.
I'm taking it. Guess what I didn't do in my local event? I didn't take that in my locals. I didn't do. But when I was spending money and money was on the line, where most of these Dark Eldar players don't even do, I'm damn sure gonna go to Adepticon or fly to Vegas or travel to Tennessee. I'm bringing the most grossest shit possible. That is still bringing the hobby back, but we're real here, so either way, don't need to go down this rabbit hole of pissing off the Dark Eldar community, but I have never seen, Grey Knight people are being salty about how terrible they are, and people are talking shit to them like, y'all need to stop complaining. But here we go. We've got the Dark Eldar community who have an amazing book, who have so many cool things, so many things to be happy about. And the one broken shit concept that they have that isn't even necessarily their fault, it's just a bad game design that only one faction gets it. It's unbelievable.
Everybody's got to have something to bitch about. And I'm sure it's not the whole Dark Eldar community. It's one little Facebook group. It's pretty much, I've talked, it's how far do people go with it, but it is. Kenny, I just have to say this last thing, and I promise I'm gonna be quiet about this. If I have to hear one more time, it costs 3 CP. It's not going to happen that much. Blah blah blah. CP farm is so much more powerful, and I'm like blowing my brains out because literally they have CP farm within it themselves, within their own book, right? And Kenny, let's talk about the chain of events. I'm the Dark Eldar player. You're the Chaos player. You're about to do Endless Cacophony. You're about to do all these other things. You're about to do some other stuff. You can block
all my favorite shit in the same turn. I can't even, there's no fishing. Let's
talk about CP farming.
I'm like shooting phase. I'm going to spend 2 CPs to shoot again. You're like, no, you're not. And then they're going to roll dice to see if they get my CPs. And this
is the best about Dark Eldar. That's exactly right? So you try to spend CP. I try to get them back. Right? You try to successfully cast Endless Cacophony for 2 CP. I roll dice to get those back. Right? I do or do not. Who knows? Then I say Agents of Vect. So now I throw 3 more dice to get more dice back. So for people like, oh my God, CP farm, Dark Eldar, CP farm, that's so much better than Agents of Vect, blah, blah. You have your own fucking CP farm. Idiots. Come on, get out of here. When someone casts a 2 CP stratagem and Agents of Vect is 3, you roll 5 CP. You roll 5 dice to get some back. Just to give them, and
then on top of everything, you have another 1 in 6 chance to steal my CP.
Yeah, get out of here. That's what I mean.
Good players. That's the good players with an optimized list are going to never let one good stratagem fly with a Dark Eldar. So like I said, we're pissing off the Dark Eldar community with opinions. My big shout out to my good friend Thomas, aka Goat Boy, for his epic unabashed article he threw up on Bulls. Big shout out there. But hey guys, let's take a quick commercial break and then let's figure out what we have to talk about on the flip side.
What does it mean to be a veteran of thelongwar.net? You are the first in the door to all exclusive content, and your clearance will be raised for the earliest access. You can enlist for free. When you're a veteran of the longwar.net, you are the front line to bringing hobby back. Join our Hall of Veterans at thelongwar.net.
And we're back. On the heels of new knights deciding that the Lance is OP, Renegade Knight Index is out, new FAQs, new AoS releases, which everyone in this podcast is equally excited about, for sure.
I knew it.
What else is there this week? I mean, it's been an incredibly busy week. Is there anything left to discuss that isn't just going to piss people off?
I feel like you're trying to masterfully bait me.
I see what you did there.
I'm not sure where you're going with this. Did I forget to cover something? Because I feel like we're not done with this one, but maybe we are.
Rob, I'll never forget when you said that. For anybody who doesn't know, go back to episode maybe like, I don't know, 20. Robbie B, whenever the Star Wars, I gotta tell this story. When Robbie B is talking about Star Wars X-Wing, right? Robbie B, I think you were in the Fayetteville area. You were playing at some, maybe Hobbytown, USA. You were playing at one of their tournaments. Mm-hmm. He is giving us the tournament breakdown X-Wing. He ended up winning. Robbie B, we're so on the hills. We want to know what's happening. And you're like, yo, I got caught off guard. I did. My opponent masterfully baited me into thinking. And we looked at you, it's like, Rob, wait a second. Did you just say your opponent masturbated you? And you were surprised? Caught you off guard? And sure as shit.
He's like, spoiler alert, it was Kenny. He was my opponent. He masturbated me.
He masturbated me without even thinking. He's like, I can't believe I said that. Yes, yeah, I did.
No, right.
I think we're saying the same thing. I'm just saying a little differently, maybe.
Southern, right? No, I'm not. I'm actually not masturbating you. I am just stalling for time.
Just masterfully baiting you.
We've blown through a lot of our content, but we're getting toward the end of the show, which is what YouTube tells me where we should promote. And a couple things, real important things. LVO tickets on sale, sold out again for the championship, but the Long War doubles at LVO 2019 still got plenty of room left. I mean, we almost have the whole hall, so there's almost no limit to what we can do. So we're definitely throwing that out there, you guys. You definitely want to sign up, get into the Long War doubles if you're going to Vegas. It's on Sunday. It's 3 rounds. Rob and myself will be there for sure. Slow Fuse Gaming will be running the booth. Jason Craze. So we're going to definitely have a strong presence in Las Vegas in 2019. We talked about at the beginning of the show, ATCs. You want to get your lists in by this Sunday for the 80 teams, 85-man teams. Quickly, one of the biggest events in the world. That's happening. And if I can do a little personal promotion, you guys know I'm in Southern California, and you know that we have worked with SoCal Games and Comics in the past. We put on a Long War doubles here in Southern California with them. We are running an IRL painting class. There's not that many opportunities for this, but I will be at SoCal Games and Comics next month, July 14th and 15th. First 2-day class we've ever done. Day 1 beginners, day 2 intermediate. You can buy a ticket for either class or both for a bundle discount. So that's kind of a big deal. We're broadening the horizon on the IRL hobby paint class scene. That's how hard we go. Rob, what do you think about that?
I think people should bring Age of Sigmar there to paint. Maybe some Beastclaw Raiders, maybe Nagash, Archaon maybe. I don't know. What's your preference?
Well,
teaching how to paint Archaon.
Well, actually, we're painting Armigers. Everyone gets a free Armiger. Not free. It's included. It's included in the cost. Everyone gets an Armiger with their ticket purchase. So that's how hard we're going. And I've actually recently just painted 3 Armigers so I can become an expert on painting them for the beginner intermediate class. As I wasn't going to go in there with that no knowledge on painting one.
Kenny, I'm surprised that you haven't told everybody the real secret is that you're teaching the beginners class and I'm teaching the intermediate class on day 2.
I was going to let it be a surprise, but that is indeed how it's going down.
I'm sorry if I broke protocol and telling people early.
It's true. If you want to learn the ancient secrets of Juice's, painting technique, where he uses the same brush for 6 years in a row. And he knows how to use every little flayed piece of that brush to maximize detail on a level of efficiency that you can only dream of.
Yeah. Ask him how to paint eyes.
With these shitty, spiky edges of the brush that he used in the like textured medium that now are forever a spike shooting off to the side.
When your brush, your good old faithful brush, is left in pumice overnight and is when you go to pull it out of the pumice, the bristles and metal parts stay in the pumice and the brush comes out, the stick, you don't still give up then. You chisel the pumice away from the brush and put it back together because there's still life.
Juice, I got some new paints for you. For everybody that can't see what I'm showing here, I got two little ghosty dudes. One is glowy green and one is a Reaper kind of blue. This is the new Sigmar technical paints.
Absolute professionalism on this podcast right now.
I want you to know.
He is not lying. It is absolutely ghostly green and pale blue. Trying to paint this with our words.
Literally primed it white, washed it with one, maybe two semi-translucent coats straight out of the bottle with a little bit of water on the brush itself. It did really well.
Rob, I'm looking at a gray model and a finished product ready to play model. That's all I see. Tell me what the difference is.
These were white. Now they're spooky.
So now I know for everybody who needs this frame of reference, come to the live show, become a veteran so you can watch this. When you tell your artist to say, I want my models to look spooky, reference what Robbie B just did.
You got to say it spooky.
No one has to say it that way. I mean, I'm not going to prohibit you from saying it that way. But I'm definitely not going to put it out to the world that anyone has to say it that way.
Pretty much a trendsetter.
All right. Well, we did it. We actually had a very awesome and extensive webcast tonight, guys. So if you obviously, if you just listen to the show and you've never seen it, webcast is the Q&A. That's where we do all the fun stuff that's available to you behind the paywall. But as I'm rear loading this podcast with promotional content and information, but I'm going to turn it over to Rob, who will take us out of here. He'll tell you where to go.
So join us again next time for more Age of Sigmar, Star Wars Legions, and of course, X-Wing 2.0 on our 40K only podcast. But make sure you head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.